Morning. Hi, hope you're okay. I just thought that I would make a little video about the More Than Books books that we have suggested this half term. Hopefully some of you have had a little look. I always try to put the preview, so the first 20-30 pages on our YouTube channel so that you can actually have a look before committing, because obviously it's really important that you make a decision about a book. You might like it, you might not like it, so that's just really important. And I wanted to today just talk you through my thought processes and thinking about our reciprocal reading skills that we've been practicing, or we were practicing in school, and hopefully just give you a little reminder about how you can use them yourself when you are looking at new books. Could be one of our More Than books, it could be one of your own choices, absolutely completely up to you. So one of the ones that we chose this half term was the Wonderwoman Warbringer, Leigh Bardugo. Now this was recommended to me because Leigh Bardugo writes the Six of Crows and those kinds of the series that my daughter absolutely loves. She's in year 9. I wouldn't normally have picked this up, I'll be honest. So when I'm thinking about my reciprocal reading, I'm thinking about my prior knowledge, my prior assumptions. I know that she writes really nicely. I also know that she tends to write in a genre that I'm not particularly familiar with, so sort of more the supernatural type things. And this one caught my eye partly because of the Wonderwoman and the Warbringer idea. So this idea of combining two genres, sort of the superhero with the sort of Greek mythology. It arrived. I thought, definitely not my bag. I'm not really into superheroes, but give it a go. I'll read you the blurb and then I'll read you the opening and I'll talk you through my thoughts. She will become a legend, but first she is Diana, Princess of the Amazons, and her fight is just beginning. Diana is desperate to prove herself to her warrior sisters, but when the opportunity comes, she throws away her chance at glory and breaks Amazon law to save a mere mortal, Alia. With this single heroic act, Diana may have just doomed the world. Alia is a Warbringer, a descendant of the infamous Helen of Troy, fated to bring about an age of bloodshed and misery. Diana and Alia will face an army of enemies, mortal and divine, determined to destroy or possess the Warbringer. It also, on the back, points out that they have got other books in the DC Icon series, so Batman, Catwoman, and Superman. So again, when you look at these books, it's important to think, maybe I could read one of the others. They're all written by different people and great writers, so that's always important too. So I've read that blurb and I've thought, okay, there's obviously going to be a bit of fighting. Again, not really my bag, but I have recently just got into these kind of classic rewrites. So I've just read The Silence of the Girls, which again it crosses over with this idea of Helen of Troy, so maybe that might be something that would interest me, even if I'm not particularly interested in the fighting aspect, the battle, the war, those kinds of things. So I'm still going to give it a go, even though you know, initially it might not be something that I'm interested in. Wonderwoman, I remember from when I was 10, 11, it was on every Saturday afternoon, and she was this incredible woman that just an ordinary woman actually, and then she would change and do wonderful things, saving people and all those kinds of things. So I know that I enjoyed the TV series, and again, give it a go. So when I'm thinking about it then, really, I have a 20-page rule with books. If I'm not into it in the first 20 pages, then I tend to give it a miss. And I think that's fair enough for all of you. It doesn't matter if you don't enjoy everything that you read. Just give different things a go and think then you can start to make decisions about things that you do enjoy. So I've got the same rule with films. If I don't like a film after 20 minutes, I will walk out of the cinema, much to my husband's dismay. but I think you've just got to be quite strict about, you know, your personal reactions and feelings. Everybody does not like the same things, and that's absolutely fine. So I'll talk you through how far. I have read a bit further than chapter 1, but I will be honest with you, when I read chapter 1, I was really confused, and it's actually taken me till chapter 5 on page 76 to actually understand what's going on. So again, I've gone through the process and not enjoyed the opening. The opening's interesting from an action point of view, but I just didn't understand the crossover between the modern world and the classic Greek world. I'm sure Mr. Alcazar will be able to correct me if Helen of Troy isn't Greek. I'm not sure. I see. Something I need to research. Chapter 1. You do not enter a race to lose. Diana bounced lightly on her toes at the starting line, her calves taut as bowstrings. Quite like the image. Her mother's words reverberating in her ears. Great use of language. A noisy crowd had gathered for the wrestling matches and javelin throws that would mark the start of the Nemesian Games. But the real event was the foot race, and now the stands were buzzing with the words that the Queen's daughter had entered the competition. So we've got a sense of excitement. When I don't even know how to say it, Hippolyta had seen Diana amid the runners clustered on the arena sands, she displayed no surprise. Now, in my head, I know that I'm not sure if I've said it correctly. I know from my knowledge of mythology that she was a queen. I'd probably now go and look her up. As was tradition, she descended from her viewing platform to wish the athletes luck in their endeavours, sharing a joke here, offering a kind word of encouragement there. She had nodded briefly to Diana, showing her no special favours, but she'd whispered so low that only her daughter could hear. You do not enter a race to lose. Amazons lined the path that led out of the arena, already stamping their feet and chanting for the games to begin. On Diana's right, Rani flashed her a radiant smile. Good luck today. She was always kind, always gracious, and of course, always victorious. So already I've got this sense of the relationship between Diana and her mother, maybe a little bit tense. I've got this idea of the competition between Diana and Rani. So actually, although I'm not 100% sure what's going on, I'm already starting to make some decisions about the characters. To Diana's left, Thyra snorted and shook her head. She's going to need it. Diana ignored her. She had been looking forward to this race for weeks. A trek across the island to retrieve one of the red flags hung beneath the great dome in Bala Migdal. In a flat-out sprint, she didn't have a chance. She still hadn't come to the fullness of her Amazon strength. You will in time, her mother had promised. But her mother promised a lot of things. This race was different. It required strategy, and Diana was ready. She'd been training in secret, running sprints with Maeve and plotting a route that had a rougher terrain, but was definitely a straighter shot up to the western tip of the island. She hadn't exactly spied, but she'd gathered intelligence on the other Amazons in the race. She was still the smallest and, of course, the youngest, but she'd shot up in the last year and was nearly as tall as Thyra now. I don't need luck, she told herself. I have a plan. She glanced down the row of Amazons gathered at the starting line like troops, readying for war, and amended. But a little luck wouldn't hurt either. She wanted that laurel crown. It was better than any royal circlet or tiara, an honour that couldn't be given and had to be earned. She found Maeve's red and freckled face in the crowd and grinned, trying to project confidence. Maeve returned the smile and gestured with both hands as if she was tamping down the air. She mouthed the words, "Steady on." Diana rolled her eyes, but nodded and tried to slow her breathing. She had a habit of coming out too fast and wasting her speed too early. Now she cleared her mind and forced herself to concentrate on the course as Tecmessa walked the line, surveying the runners, jewels glinting in the thick corona of curls, silver bands flashing on her brown arms. She was Hippolyta's closest advisor, second in rank only to the Queen, and she carried herself as if her belted indigo shift were battle armour. So again, we've just had another character introduced, Tecmessa, and actually what I would do now is go away and just use Google or my books and just see if there was any historical context to this, so I could add sort of any of my knowledge or curiosity even in reading it. So the language is not complicated. There's a sense of excitement at the beginning. There's a sense of things having gone on before that make me kind of interested in what might happen next. And we know that there's about to be a race. And from that point of view, actually, the opening chapter is quick moving, creates a sense of tension, and actually, you know, it does, I know we're not allowed to say this, but it does make you want to read on. We don't talk about wanting to read on when we are writing about openings to books, but actually a sense of anticipation is really important. So I'm going to read on, and I'm going to drop in chapter 2 and let you know what happened.